Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how you can resolve an unable to connect to database message when you launch the MudPie Creations Child Check-in application. So when you first launch the application, if you see an unable to connect to database message, and then after you say OK, if the main screen is displayed but there's no data listed and all of the buttons are disabled, and you'll see in red unable to connect to database at the bottom, then these steps will help you to troubleshoot what's going on. This is step one in a series of tutorials, and this is the step that you should start with. If you click on the Get Help link, it will take you to the list of troubleshooting steps, and we're going to cover the first one to check if the SQL services are running. You can also find these steps on our website. So if you go to if you launch a browser window and you go to the MudPie Creations website and then go to the support page of the website, make sure Child Check-in tab is selected. Then at the top you'll see Unable to connect to the database, and then if you click on that link, it will take you to the troubleshooting steps, and these instructions are always the ones that are most up to date. So I'm going to leave this open and we're going to follow along. So we can close the Child Check-in app. And the first thing we want to do is we want to go to Services from the for Windows. So we're going to go down to the Windows search bar and we're going to type in the word Services. You can see that the Services desktop app is listed. So we're going to click on that and it will launch the Services utility. The list of services here in alphabetical order. So if you click on any of them and you press the S key, that will take you to the services that start with the letter S. So as you can see in our instructions, we're looking for SQL Server MPC. So here it is. And if you did not find SQL Server MPC in this list, then you can move on to the second step in the troubleshooting. Okay, so I've located it. I'm also interested in SQL Server Browser if I have more than one check-in station. So if you have multiple check-in stations that all share one single database, um, you'll need to do these instructions only on the computer that is hosting the database. And if you have more than one workstation, you should also look at the SQL Server Browser service. So we want to make sure that the status is set to either started or running. So if we look at our SQL Server MPC um, service, we can see that the status is empty. That means it is not running. So we're going to right click and we're going to choose Start. And that should start the service. So now it says running. Okay, also my SQL Server browser service is not running. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose Start. And again, this is only needed, the SQL Server browser service is only needed if I have more than one workstation. The startup type is set to automatic, which that's good. That means that whenever I reboot my computer or I start it up after it's been powered down, it will try to automatically start that service. But let's right click and go to Properties. And let's change automatic to automatic delayed start. So this will not only automatically attempt to start the service, but it will also do it as one of the last things that it attempts as the computer is booting up, and that will increase the likelihood that it will successfully start. So hopefully we won't have this issue anymore. So we're going to hit the OK button. And we can do that to the SQL Server browser service as well by going to Properties and choosing Automatic Delayed Start, and then the OK button. Okay, so now they are running. I'm going to close the Services app, and then I'm going to launch Child Check-in. So if you had already been running the Child Check-in app successfully and you got the unable to connect to database message, now when you launch the Child Check-in app, then everything will start up, your data will be listed, and you're ready to use the Child Check-In app again. However, if you had just installed the Child Check-In app the very first thing when you ran the app for the first time, then your database is not set up. So you're probably still going to see the unable to connect to database message. So let's close the Child Check-In app and let's look back at our instructions. So the instructions say that if you have just installed Child Check-In, please run the Child Check-In install again to finish setting up the database. So you may have purchased the software in one of two ways. One is on a CD-ROM. So you would just put in your original CD from where you purchased the app. You would navigate to your CD or DVD ROM drive, and you would look for a file called setup that has a type called application. So as you can see, there's more than one setup file, but there's only one that has a type of application. You would double click that and run through the install one more time, choosing the repair option. Okay, if you purchase the software as a download file, then you don't need to re-download the file or try to find where you put it for safekeeping, maybe on a USB drive. All of the files should be already on your computer. So if you go to the Windows File Explorer window and go to your local disk C, find the Program Files x86 directory, and then there should be a folder there called Setup Child Check-In. So if you go in there, you will see the list of files. These match the list that is on a CD-ROM. And so here we have the setup application file. So I'm going to double click that, and that will restart the installation. I'm going to choose yes to allow it to make changes to my computer. And then it's going to ask me if I've made a backup of the database. So since this is a brand new install, I can just say yes. And now it asks if I want to modify, repair, or remove. I'm going to make sure that the repair option is selected, which that should be selected by default. I'm going to press the next button, and it will run through the install really quickly because the only thing it has to do now is set up the database. Okay, and it's already finished, so I'm going to hit the finish button. And now when you launch the Child Check-In application, it will launch without an error. And of course, your list of families will be empty because it's a brand new install, but you're ready to start adding families and setting up your classes.